So how's it going, guys? It's a real Murata photographer based in Tokyo. So up until this year, I've been mostly shooting with a film camera, sharing my thoughts and how should I say more on equipments and trips in some of my videos. This time around, some people have been sort of like waiting for this video, I guess, on a topic of where should I sort of like send my film, as in getting it processed, because a lot of you guys are like photographing random locations, or you guys are thinking of like traveling to Tokyo, but you guys have no idea where to get my film negatives, or maybe black and white or like reversals, slide films processed. So this is going to be a video on that topic. Where can I get it sort of like processed? And I kind of found out after shooting this video and doing a lot of research that because there's like so many sort of like film processing labs throughout Tokyo, I won't be able to like cover every single one of them. So I basically sort of like broke it down into three like sections. One is those chain stores, like mega monsters that exist throughout Tokyo, then go to in specific locations, and then in the end I will just talk about briefly about smaller labs that are sort of like scattered across Tokyo, sort of like only one of a kind kind of, and then ended up there. Okay, so before diving into the sort of like film labs, one thing to note is when I say it will take roughly more than a week to get it processed, I intentionally mean that that lab itself cannot process the film. Thus, they have to ship it to a different like factory or sort of like a site where they can do it for that person. And when I say 1 week, that sort of like lab itself does not have the facility to do it, so that in most cases they had to ship it out. That's why the runtime is like 1 week or maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks, depending on what you want to get processed. So keep that in mind, okay? Okay, so Yodobashi Camera, Big Camera. First off the list, starting out with the biggest chain store in Tokyo is Yodobashi Camera and Big Camera. I just kind of smashed them together because they offer similar services, similar pricing schemes, and I used to sort of like FYI, I used to drop all my films at Yodobashi Camera when starting out. However, nowadays I kind of stopped doing it due to the fact that their runtime when you drop your film down, I'll stick some kind of list on the right side of the film formats and also the duration it takes for your information. But if you look at that chart and also the price, 35mm color negatives starting out, they can do it within a day or so, which is really nice. However, any format outside 35mm color negatives, so black and white, reversal, medium format, black and white, reversal, and medium format, it takes super long, as in duration of time, from 1 week to 3 weeks or so. And Yodobashi Camera has this sort of like way, if it's a Fuji stock, they can do it ASAP because they have the facility, I guess the chemicals to do it. But unfortunately, if it's Kodak's film stock, which I shoot most of the time, Kodak Gold, they have to ship it outside their warehouse. And that sort of like attempt takes like really long. It takes like 1 week, 2 weeks, or maybe 3 weeks, depending on the film stock and what you want to get, processed. So that's actually one area to mention. But they still have and also sell film stocks within Tokyo, and they have the largest shelf. So yeah, that is like one area to mention. Okay, so chain store number 2 is Koide Camera, aka Photo Labs, and this is an interesting store. If you guys do not know, Koide Camera is a Tokyo-based company that opened its doors in Asagaya, and I guess Suginami Ward, if I'm right, during the Showa year 26, and ever since then they became sort of like the chain store of photography towards the consumers actually. But sad story, they don't have that many stores around Tokyo. If I'm right, they only have 7 stores within Tokyo, Koide Camera, aka Photo Lab. And if I'm right, their most largest, or how should I say, known one is the one in Nakano Broadway, which is otaku mayhem for the majority of people. But you can basically visit them if you go to like Fujiya Camera, going a little bit off topic, but they reside in that area. And like I said, because they're focused on the consumers prints, as in like small prints, index prints, etc., they only do color negatives, mostly like 35mm format. Anything above that or beyond that, black and white reversal, medium format, they basically have to ship it out, which is unfortunate. But if you have a bunch of like 35mm color negative shots, during your trip, you can basically drop it there and they can do it within a couple of hours or so, which is also great. Okay, so number 3 is Camera Kitamura. If you guys probably know, Camera Kitamura is not a Tokyo company, unfortunately. They are from Kochi Prefecture, but they are the largest camera chain store of Japan. They're like 7-Eleven for every large station in Tokyo. You can basically find them everywhere. They're located in Shibuya. They are located in Shinjuku. They have a bunch of them actually. They also have one in Akihabara, etc., etc. The larger the station, it's highly likely that they have some kind of store around. And because of that, they also do really fast processing, especially for color negatives. For 35mm color negatives, they can do it within 1 hour or 2 or so. They have this policy of trying to do it within an hour or so, but depending on how busy the shop is, it might take longer, so take that with a grain of salt. And I have to admit that because they are really fast in terms of like processing 35mm color negatives, I basically drop all my 35mm in this store and most of the time at Camera Kitamura to get it processed. And because they do it at a really fast rate, I basically trust them to get their job done within a specific period of time. So if you want to get your film negatives, especially 35mm ASAP processed, you can basically drop it there. Most of the time, you can get it processed in Shinjuku. They have a shop there, and I highly suggest doing it there instead of Yodobashi Camera because they do it much more efficiently. And as of other film stock, they don't do black and white, but they do reversal, aka slide films. However, they don't have the facility to do it, so they had to ship it out to factory to get it done, which takes roughly 2 weeks or so. So that's a downer for some people. But for the reversal film stocks, they do up until 8x10 because those film stocks still exist. You can actually get 8x10 up to like 4x5 and also 8x10 and medium format process if it's a slide film within 14 days or so. So yeah, that's one area to note. Okay, that's basically on talking about the chain stores. And next up, more on the individual shop. Next up, following from Camera Kitamura, is obviously Shashinki Kitamura. I already unfortunately made a video on them, but I never talked about their sort of film services, film processing services. But it's basically exactly the same as the what you call the Kitamura's camera shop, the chain store, unfortunately. However, for the 35mm film or color negatives, actually, on their website, and because I never used their service, I can't vouch on it, but it says they can get your 35mm color negatives done within 15 minutes, and I'm saying, you got to be kidding me. So that's actually there. And also for the what you call the reversal slide films, it said at the bottom that they can do it in 10 days or so, but I basically looked on the next page and it said that if it was 24 exposure 35mm reversal slide film, they can do it within 10 days or so. But any format above that, 36 exposure 35mm or medium format reversal film or 4x5 and 8x10, will take more than 2 weeks. So it's basically the exact same service as sort of like the chain store, unfortunately. Shinjuku area, that's basically it. In terms of chain stores, Kitamura Camera or the Shashinki is basically the go-to area for processing film, especially color negatives. And moving away from the Shinjuku area, I will go into the specific areas, which is Shibuya, Shimokitazawa, and Harajuku. I basically smashed those 3 areas together due to the fact that there's not many film labs within that area. So I basically thought they would be in a really nice party-ish kind of area if I bunch them together. So yeah, so FYI, for your information, Shibuya area specifically, there's Camera Kitamura chain store and also a camera shop actually on top of the second floor and fourth floor if I'm right. You can actually purchase film and also get your color negatives processed, especially at 35mm color negatives within their store within an hour or so. So that's one area to point out. Going beyond that, if you walk towards Ebisu area, Ebisu is roughly 15-20 minutes walk away from Shibuya, lies Osawa Camera Store. This is basically a camera store, but they also do processing. I basically called them to see what the kind of processing services they had, and they said that they do 35mm color negatives and also 120 medium format. And what shocked me was for the medium format, they can do it within 2 hours or so if it's like 1 or 2 rolls of film, and for 35mm they can do it in 1 or 2 hours or so, which is really nice. And for other formats, black and white and also reversal, they have to like ship it out because this camera store facility is really tiny. So yeah, that's actually one area to note. Another area that does processing is Photo Ueno. I initially thought they were located in Ueno area, but I realized that that was actually a name, unfortunately. But they lie in between same area as the Osawa camera, in between Shibuya and Ebisu. However, there's a Yamanote line or the JR line that basically spans across. It's actually on the opposite side across the railway lies Photo Ueno, and similar to Osawa camera, they do processing of color negatives 35mm within 24 hours, and for medium format, similar 24 hours they can get it processed. Anything other than that, it will take roughly 1 week of runtime to get it processed. So they basically ship it out and it kind of comes back and it gets delivered to you. So yeah, that's another shop to mention. So Hirose Photo Lab, which is basically my go-to lab. So another area is Shimokitazawa, and Shimokitazawa, for people who do not know, is one station away from Shibuya on the express line of the Keio line, which I use a lot actually. But Hirose Photo Lab, the reason why I use this lab the most is that they are focused on color negatives. They only do 35mm color negatives and 120 color negatives, and that's basically what they do. And they don't do black and white or sort of like what we call reversal, unfortunately. But because I shoot mostly color negatives, this is the lab that I go, and the runtime is a little bit longer. 35mm color negatives take roughly a day or so, and for medium format it takes roughly a day or maybe 2, depending on how many rolls you bring in or like how crowded the sort of like the processing area is. So I basically like the majority of my films that I shot for the past year or so, and also including my trips, Pro 400H that I shot Hatoya Hotel with, Gold 200 that I shot various locations, especially the Chiba prefecture area, I basically drop it off here, like 10 rolls or so, and they can do it within a couple of days or so. And I have really high trust that they will do the processing like without any problems, and I had no issues up until this point. Really unique about Hirose Photo Lab is that they have this membership card, which, where's my membership card? Ow! Which look like this actually. And this membership card itself, there's like a membership number and my name, signature, which I should not show it to you guys, but you purchase this for roughly 2,000 yen, so roughly $15, and this membership card becomes a discount card, which is valid for 1 year, and you can basically deduct like roughly 200 yen from the original price of the processing fee. So if I'm right, it's like 990 yen, but that becomes 770 yen per roll, both 35mm format of color negatives and also medium format. So within the region where I'm currently living, which is like closer to the Shinjuku area, this pricing is actually the cheapest within this area. So that's actually one of the reasons why I but like drop all my films color negatives here, because it's the cheapest within this region, unfortunately. But because of that, I keep on renewing this sort of like license or membership card every year, and I received a bag actually from them, which is this. You're an honorary sort of like customer. I don't know if you guys can see it, but it has a photo of someone's granny. So but they have that happening sometimes, not frequently, but yeah, some kind of service if you are a loyal customer. But yeah, I thought it was nice to sort of like mention on my channel. Yeah, hoping to make a video. I actually mentioned like if I could like shoot within their sort of like lab, but they said that it's like really busy, so it's kind of hard to do it. So hopefully I can do it sometime in the near future. But yeah, went off topic. Next up on the list is Omi Camera, and I already made a video of Omi Camera. It's more like a camera store located in Sasazuka. So Sasazuka's like roughly one station away from Shinjuku, but Sasazuka's actually Shibuya ward actually. So I thought it makes sense sort of like mention them on my channel. In that visiting Omi Camera store, I basically talked about their sort of like cameras within their store most of the time, but they also do processing. However, although they sort of like ship it out, their processing to a facility outside, their runtime is actually shorter compared to 1 week actually. If you ship any kind of film stock, they can do it within like 4 days or so. So I thought that would make sense for some people who are actually traveling within this region of Sasazuka, or if you're using the KO line actually, you can basically drop it off there and come back 4 days later. You can sort of like retrieve your film negatives or color negatives or reversal or maybe monochrome black and white after 4 days or so. So that's actually one area to mention. Last but not least, of the Shibuya, Shimokitazawa, and Harajuku area, we have the Fuji Wonder Photo Shop. I actually never been to the shop, unfortunately, but it's similar to Koide Camera's shop mentality, where it's sort of like designed for the consumers, people who just want small size prints and stuff like that. They also do processing of film stocks, especially the 35mm format, only color negatives if I'm right. The runtime is roughly 1.5 hours or so, and anything above that, they actually don't do it, unfortunately, because it's a Fuji shop. So I don't know what would happen if you bring a Kodak film stock into the store. Like, they will have a heart attack maybe, but because I've never been to their shop, I cannot vouch, but they only do processing of 35mm format. And please, when you go to the Fuji Wonder Photoshop, which is like managed by Fujifilm, do not bring Kodak film stock, because you will probably give them a rude awakening. So yeah, and also because it is like similar to Koide Camera, it's kind of oriented towards the consumers. They do like services such as burning onto CDs, index prints and stuff like that. They have that available, and various types of services. I'll stick in a link because they have like a lot of services around photography in general. So yeah, Fuji Wonder Shop Photoshop located in Harajuku. We're done with Shibuya, Shimokitazawa, Harajuku, moving to where we are going to Akihabara. And unfortunately to say, Akihabara I rarely go, unfortunately, but there's only one area that you guys should know or at least remember, which is ShashinKosha, which I've never been to, unfortunately. ShashinKosha is basically one of the oldest processing labs in Tokyo, and I would consider them on the professional side, because they do every single processing that you can imagine. Color negatives, black and white, reversal, from 35mm format to up to 8x10 large format. And when I say professional, if they do 8x10 processing, obviously I would consider them professional, because you need the equipment, you need the facility to do so, but they basically can do it within this Akihabara shop actually. Time for color and monochrome, which take 1 day. Reversal slide films take roughly 5 days. And they also have a really unique service, which if you pay extra money, they will work faster, which I don't know if that's good in terms of like work ethics. But if you pay like 50% or maybe 100% of the original price, you can shrink down the processing time by 1 or 2 days. So I'm not sure ethically that is the right way to do it, but I mean, that is available. And because I call them the professionals, they basically also do hand-baked service in a darkroom print. So you basically allow the professionals to like bake it for you, and they do full-size contact sheet, and that not many labs do nowadays. And because I consider them professional, they also do hand-baked on photographic papers, Baraita, and also RC resin-coated papers. So you can basically choose from that. And for full color negatives, handprints, you can basically choose from gloss, luster, and crystal. So yeah, and also they do inkjet prints up until B0 size, which is like this massive poster size. So if you're doing some kind of like client work, you have that option available. And also if you are doing galleries, they have some kind of service of sort of like framing and stuff like that. So that is available. I should really visit them actually. Okay, so next up on the list is Sendagi Yellow Jacket. Unfortunately, I already made a video of talking about Sendagi's Yellow Jacket. I actually got some of my film negatives processed there, but they are located in a station called Sendagi. I guess it's kind of closer to the Ueno area if I'm right, but probably the majority of people forgot about Sendagi's Yellow Jacket. But long story short, they kind of focus on color negatives, especially on terms of speed. They do 35mm, which take 30 minutes. 120 takes roughly 1 day or so. And they also do 110 and also 220. So if you have a Cinestill 220, you can get it processed here. They also do 5x7 and 8x10, if I'm right. And also reversal slide films take roughly 3 days or so, and monochrome takes roughly 2 days. So they are actually really fast in terms of like all across the board in terms of color negatives, reversal, and also monochromes, because monochromes and reversal typically take 1 week or so to get it processed in Tokyo. So they are doing really well, especially. So they have like 2 interesting services, which if I'm right, I covered only one of them, which is their discount coupon. If you pay 2,500 yen, which is roughly $20 or so, you get this coupon, which you can basically sort of like process up to 6 Brownie 120 medium format films for 2,500 yen, which means that one roll is roughly 400 yen. That's like $3 per roll. So this is by far the cheapest in terms of like processing medium format. And this coupon is only for medium format film, unfortunately. But when I went to a trip, I actually used this coupon and just processed 6 films for 2,500 yen, which was really nice. And another service I think I kind of forgot to mention on that Sendagi Yellow Jacket video is that they have this awesome service called Bike Bin. And for people who live outside, 95% of you guys do not know, it is a bike service. And I was like, what the heck is a bike service, kind of? And it's basically a service meaning that if you live around this, I was taking a map for you guys, around where the Sendagi Yellow Jacket is located. So if I'm right, it includes Bunkyo Ward, Taito area, and Kitaku, a portion of that, and also Arakawa-ku, if I'm right. You can basically phone them to get your film negatives that you shot recently picked up by him or the owner on a bike actually, and they basically bring it back to the lab. They process it for you, and once they're done, they basically give it back to you, I guess exact same location if you're within this area or so, and they can basically do that service free actually. And the only downside is the processing fee has to be above 400 yen, but honestly, if you process at least 1 or 2 films, you can use this service, and the what you call delivery fee is actually free. So man, if I actually lived within this area, I would 100% use this service ASAP, because I mean that sort of like time and effort it takes to sort of like physically walk to a store and dropping your film is somewhat of a tedious task, you know, and you had to pick it up later on the next day. So this is actually a fantastic service if you actually live within this area. Man, I wish this service exists in the Shinjuku area, then I would like kind of abuse it all day long. So yeah, that exists. Okay, so last but not least is these other labs that are scattered across Tokyo. There's a bunch, and the majority of them, unfortunately, I've never been to, so I can't not talk much, but this is from researching and looking at every single website that I found. And starting out is Popeye Camera. This is the only store that I kind of covered so far. If you guys do not know, Popeye Camera is located in Jugaoka Station, which is 2 stations away from Shibuya, so it's like a 10-minute ride from Shibuya. And they are sort of like focused on a lifestyle with a camera. And along with that, they also have a small area which they sell cameras. They also do processing, and for 35mm and 120 medium format, they can, if it's like 1 or 2 rolls, they can do it within 1 hour to 2 hours, somewhere within that range. And depending on how crowded, how busy they are, this time will actually differ. And black and white and also reversals, they don't do it within their stores, so they have to like ship it out, which will take longer, mostly like about a week or so. So keep that in mind. And what's rather intriguing about a Popeye Camera is they also, similar to various other locations, they have a membership sort of like service, which every time you process a lab, I'll stick in a Instagram feed that I found actually of them. They're sort of like membership card style. Is that every time you sort of like process one film, you get charged a specific price, but you get a stamp actually, and there's like 4 or 5 or maybe 6 ranks actually. Once you go up one rank, your processing fee goes down by like a couple of $100 if I'm right. And if you reach the highest gold tier, it's like mileage actually. So if you reach the gold tier, one film processing fee becomes $2.5, which is actually the cheapest in Tokyo. So I'm not sure if this is like really worth it because I live far away, but if you live somewhere near Popeye Camera, and if you continue to like process film, you can basically reach gold tier. So yeah, that's actually Jiyugaoka's Popeye Camera. Ebisu Camera is a camera, aka processing lab located in Shirogane Takanawa Station. Don't get wrong with the Takanawa Gateway Station. It's completely far away. You have to get off at Shirogane Takanawa Station, roughly 10-minute walk if I'm right. And they do 35mm and also 120 color negatives. Black and white reversal, they basically have to ship it to a facility, which takes roughly 7 days. Reversal 35mm takes 3 days. They have a wide array of giving out data, as in CDs, also scanning methods. I'll stick in some kind of like list, but they have a lot actually, a lot of service regarding on that. What to do with the data that you basically gave them. It could be color negatives, reversals, and stuff like that. But they have various types of like services available for you. Okay, so next up is Photo Canon. And initially I thought Canon, make it better with Canon. No, I'm not a Canon user. But honestly, Photo Canon or Canon is actually located in Togoshi Ginza, which is also a really nice location to photograph actually. So after looking at their website, I never visited unfortunately. They do color negatives, 35mm and 120 medium format, which they can do it within 1 hour to 2. Black and white reversal, they had to ship it out, which take about a month, not a month, a week or so. So you have to be careful with that. And because I never visited their shop, I basically saw their online website, and they have a small sort of like video of their, or footage of their shop, and it kind of reminds me of Popeye Camera. It has this really nice antique, really cozy environment that I would want to visit them actually. So yeah, I'll stick that video for you guys. But yeah, they have that, and also they also sell like film stocks within their store, so that's actually great, nice to see. Okay, so Prism Lab is probably the only location in Kichijoji that you can process film, and I think there's a camera Kitamura in Kichijoji, but I think they don't have the facilities to do it. So Prism Lab is probably the only location, especially for color negatives. If I'm right, 35mm 120 color negative processing, they can do it in a day or so. Black and white, I was looking at their website and it said that they had the facility to do black and white, but their machine kind of broke down and they can't fix it. So right now they're sort of like shipping it to a facility, black and white and reversal, out to a factory outside. So that takes roughly 2 weeks or so. I was looking at their website. So yeah, they have that for you. And also, not to mention, in Kichijoji area, there is a Yodobashi camera. However, unlike the Yodobashi and in the Shinjuku area, which they have a facility for processing 35mm, the one in Kichijoji actually, unfortunately, they can't do it ASAP. They had to like ship it. So in most cases, the style of Yodobashi camera, they basically get all the film negatives all at once at a specific facility, process it there, and they bulk ship it to the various shops. So that's actually one of the reasons why that Yodobashi camera is sort of like getting slower in terms of processing film, because they are doing that method. But yeah, Prism Lab, for color negatives, they do it within their sort of like area, so you can get an ASAP process. But anything other than color negatives, they had to like ship it out, unfortunately. Okay, saving the last for you guys. Thank you guys for sticking around for me just rambling about random labs in Tokyo. But National Photo, saving the best for the last for the people who stuck for me. Thank you. But I have to mention, I never been to National Photo because National Photo is located in between Komatsubai, Todai Mai, and also Sangenjaya, which is a really unique area, and it's like really far away from Shinjuku. It's like it's closer to Shibuya actually, on the what's it, Odakyu line if I'm right, but I think it's roughly 15 minutes in between those two stations. But I would consider them the pinnacle, the professional lab, due to the fact that if I'm right, a lot of how should I say, client type of work, people who shoot photography using a film camera, they want high res scans, they want high res prints, frequently use national photos from what I hear. And a famous Japanese photographer is Suzuki Shin, who recently made a video, I was taking a link somewhere, of him sort of like getting his prints back from National Photo, shot on Pentax 6.7, and he ordered them to be hand baked on, I forgot what paper it was it RC paper or Ilford paper? Barita or something. I completely forgot about. I was taking the link because that's a really unique video that he has, although it's in Japanese. Went a little bit off topic, but I would consider them the professional lab due to the fact that they basically do every single like processing that you can imagine, from 35mm color negatives, black and white reversal, up to 8x10 people who are aspired to become Ansel Adams actually. They have you covered. Okay, so I consider them as the professionals, as in sort of like this DTP, aka like film labs, because they have a service where you can basically select a specific frame or like cut and or film negatives, or it could be reversal film or slide films or black and white, and they can basically hand bake it for you. They have various services on that. They have like too many services, so I can't cover it in this video. But Suzuki Shin, which I just mentioned earlier, basically had his Pentax 6.7 hand baked actually on Barita paper if I'm right, and that's like something that not many labs do nowadays. Only National Photo and also ShashinKosha is basically the only location that does that in this caliber, and also because they are the professionals. If you work in the digital field, they have like various types of rental services available for you, and they also have a small shop so you can basically buy film stocks and stuff like that. And because I live kind of far away, I never had the opportunity to sort of like visit them, but if I do have the time and energy. And also one area to note about them is that I was about to end this video, but you can also rent the Hasselblad FlexTight X5 if I'm right. And in Tokyo, as of 2025, there's only 3 or 4 locations where you can borrow that like scanner. It's like basically the easiest consumer friendly scanner at the highest league in that sense, as in like scanning resolution. It's hard to say because I never rented it, but there's only 3 or 4 locations where you can borrow it, and National Photo is actually one of those locations. If you actually send them sort of like a reservation, you can basically borrow it for a specific time period, and not many labs do that nowadays because that film scanner is like really expensive, but they have that service also available to you. I was taking a sort of like a URL linked for them because they have like a lot of services available if you're into film photography, and also if you're into digital, you can basically rent equipment. So yeah, that's basically it on my coverage of talking about film labs, just ranting about random locations actually to you guys. But hopefully if you're ever visiting any kind of like area within Tokyo, and if you're kind of lost in terms of sort of like processing your films, hopefully you guys can refer to this video. And in the other part, I was taking a sort of like an Excel screenshot of all the locations that I mentioned, and also hopefully I'll stick in every single link that I sort of like mentioned in terms of film labs for you guys. So yeah, if you guys are maybe lost, you can basically pick up on that, select that link, and just fly to that specific lab and see what kind of services are for you. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to like cover every single labs within Tokyo, but I just kind of picked up the one that I found in Google search. So yeah, to deliver for you guys. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, found it informative. If you have any questions, I'm happy to reply. We will see you next time. Peace out.